After being asked this one question multiple times, finally Voevoda has answered if he's going to continue arm wrestling after this John Brzezinski match or not. And the answer is something that we may not like to hear. In this video, we will discuss the highlights of all of the recent Alexey Voevoda interviews. Am I the only one who is kind of getting frustrated because it is really difficult to understand what Voevoda is saying? There can be three reasons for that. Voevoda is just way too smart for us mortals. We cannot understand what he is saying. And the other reason is there is some translation problem going on. The third one, that Voevoda is a politician, so he is speaking in a politically correct manner. I think it's a combination of all three of these. In the recent interviews, he was asked about Denis Siplankov, Devon Laird, Levan Saginashvili, Tim Bresnan super match, if that is something that excites him or not. We'll answer all of these questions. So first of all, he was asked about his physical shape. Another common question. How does this Voevoda fare against the Voevoda of 2004? Once again, Voevoda did not answer this question. He said that he cannot compare. Those are two different human beings. I'm physically more fit now. That's all he said. Maybe he was trying to say that that was the juiced up version and this is a clean natural version. I'm just guessing. So he did not answer that question. When he was asked about John Brzezinski, this is one question, the answer of which kind of annoyed me a little bit. Voevoda said, and I quote, actually that's the quote from Voevoda's translator, "I respect him as much as possible and I probably won't talk whether I can defeat him or not." And I was like, really? That's a super match. If you cannot say that you're going to beat your opponent, then probably that's not the right sport. That's not the time to be politically correct here. So another question about whether he's going to continue or not in the different one. He said, and that's the difficult part to digest for us. If he beats John Brzezinski, only then he's going to continue. So that was the answer in very clear words. Voevoda will not continue professional arm wrestling if he loses to John Brzezinski. So that is like John also giving him the Tim Bresnan treatment, because we already know, as mentioned by Voevoda himself, that the biggest reason or one of the biggest reasons why Voevoda stopped arm wrestling or why he quit after 2016 was the trolling from the fans that he received after losing to Tim Bresnan. He doesn't want to risk that once again, and he's not going to continue if he loses to John. I kind of think it is a fair decision to make, because once you are accustomed to that top level, and if you start losing, if you're not that guy anymore, which, let's be honest, if he loses to John, he's not that guy anymore. He won't even be able to make the what's that person who's a gatekeeper? Yeah, he won't be the gatekeeper in that 110-15 kg division anymore after that. So he was asked about Denis Siplankov, whether he could beat Denis or not, and I'm going to read the quote from the translation of that. "I would have been able to compete with Denis with dignity when I was in super shape." So that kind of indicates that he's not in that good of a shape. "But I probably would have put him on the board for competition. This is definitely because I am rather inconvenient opponent for him." So stylistically, maybe Voevoda suited well against Denis, because these two have practice pulled against each other, but we don't know. Another answer to the question whether he's going to continue or not, he said that if he's able to combine physical education with the sport of arm wrestling, then he's going to continue. If he cannot combine physical education with the sport of arm wrestling, then he's not going to continue, whatever that means. I mean, it's getting crazy, man. These interviews are really getting crazy. Then asked about Devon Laird, Levan Saginashvili, Denis Siplankov. He said that these are different level beasts and it is really difficult to compete against them. Devon is improving now, but he was not so sure if he can still beat Levan Saginashvili or not. Not still, but if he can beat him now or not. So these were the basic things from the interview. And the final thing, the Tim Bresnan match. Voevoda said, "I would like to fight with Tim Bresnan after John, only with the same refereeing, the same halyards," whatever that means. I think it's a medical company. I searched for that. So if he is talking about some sponsors or some rules or some pancakes, it's totally confusing. Only in this version, I would fight with that arrest. So yeah, he was asked about that question, if he's going to compete against Tim Bresnan or not. That was Voevoda's answer to that. So to summarize the things, He thinks that Dennis, Levan, Voevoda are on a different level right now. He's probably not going to contest at that level, and he's not going to continue professional arm wrestling if he loses to John. He's still going to keep arm wrestling, maybe just training or maybe just competing somewhere locally, but at the amateur level, not at the professional level. And for the Tim Brezen match, he's up for it if he's able to beat John Brezink, but under some strict reffing, he means to say. Thanks for watching, like the video and subscribe.